Okay, we got our Crack Pack boys. Love those Muppets. They're squirrely, but if there's anybody out there, I heard some rumblings that some people were thinking that the Crack Pack was. I think people just didn't understand that they're goofing around, they're having a good time. But if you guys see them like I don't know, you think they're mistreating each other or anything, trust me, they're all in on it. They're just having a goof. Um, questions. Mo, Mo, Mo. That's a good one. I always avow the pack. I cannot. I'm sorry, but I must not and cannot avow the crack. It's not a casual thing. I'm afraid there's history there. You guys may have seen a little something like this on Crack Mountain, maybe in the possession of D-Wag. Let's just say that I've never been to Crack Mountain, but in my travels through the cosmos, boys, Crack Pack, Crack Mountain's not the end-all be-all. Crack Mountain, think of it as a love note from Crack Planet.
Joe decided to set out on his journey to discover Crack Rock Planet. When Joe arrived at Crack Rock Planet, he planted the Crack Pack flag alongside the U.S. flag. He then decided to take a hunk of the planet, for research. He then realized that the Crack Pack was about supporting one another and helping each other, rather than tearing each other down.
Hi, Comicsgate. How's my audio? Can everybody hear me? Mrs. Good Stuff, it's so good to be home. I missed you, every single one of you. Did you guys like that home video? There's a part of my history that is being revealed over the last week or so. It's not that I've ever hidden it from you. It's never that I've been anything less than 100% transparent. It's never been that I've not wanted to say anything about it. It's just that everything has a time and place. Thank you, Mo. I hoped it would be inspiring. I have to say that I owe a debt of gratitude to D-Wag and Good Stuff for assisting me with recovering the footage that had been recorded so long ago. You may have noticed some telling, maybe even striking resemblance to some of the astronauts, to yours truly. All I can say, my friends, is that when one ascends the mortal plane and has a consciousness that has been expanded from an out-of-body, near-death experience, one never knows the cascade of effects that might follow. Perhaps one might find oneself flying through the cosmos, dude style, as we see in The Big Lebowski, just duding it up between the planets, through the stars, around the suns. Maybe, just maybe, one might find oneself in the quantum realm, exploring strange new sights, new civilizations, boldly going where no one has gone before. Not on a 5-year mission. No. A continuing mission. To seek out new life and new civilizations. To introduce them to the wonderful body of Comicsgate. An enormous, one might even predict everlasting body made up of near infinite component parts. And it's these component parts, my friends, and the interactions between them that allow me to appear here before you today to throw you a party. To thank you so very much for being a critical component to the recovery. One might say miraculous, one might say stunning, one might say unexplained. Everyone's opinion is valid. I am content to be thought of as new and improved. The same old Joe with a little extra funk in his fresh. Looney is a outhouse rat swimming in the leftovers of Cecil's Jack Show Taco Bell extravaganza. Whatever it is, as long as it's authentic, that's the correct response. And now, my friends, excuse me, I have a bit of a persistent cough. One of the effects of, let's say, conquering the particular brand of COVID that I was, well, let's just say that the coward that sniped me shot me in the back with a round full of COVID so nasty it takes a planet full of crack just to even start to comprehend the devastation caused by such a filthy disease. My friends, that coward popped me and dropped me faster than I couldn't even express. I thought my head was on a swivel, but we all have limits, my friends. We're all human. We're average people who do what some people might consider to be extraordinary things, like produce a little something called the Lucent, which arrived on my doorstep today. See that label there? It says, "Please do not bend." Well, fortunately, as far as I can tell, the contents of this quick pack mailer, this mammoth beauty, as far as I can tell, the contents were not bent. The cardboard was bent. The outside container, you might say, the vessel for the wonders that are inside, is in a bit of a rough condition. As the vessel you see before you is sadly in a reduced state. My formerly, as I have been told many times, phenomenal physique reduced to the human-shaped jello mold you see before you. And yet, my friends, this is a party. And I'd like to say, is it a problem? Nah. Like my Scottish brother from another mother, the critical drinker, likes to say, it'll be fine. So, my friends, though I'm not quite in beer drinking condition yet, this is a party. And so, let's get partying. Let's get into the chat and see who we've got. StreamYard, you're jumping around on me. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go through this quick. Everyone, I love that you're here. Thank you so much for joining. We've got Aerith Saga, Replicator, Good Stuff Comics Gator, Melanie B, Michael Bancroft, Mo Biggs. Who else? Some guy called Fulton Land. Who else do we have? Mr. Mrs. Good Stuff, Mr. Mrs. Bancroft, Chimera, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Who do we have here? Spin the wheel. Who's a winner? Frog G, hailing all. Good to see you, Frog G. It's Gusto. It's B Rose. Black Rose Comics on fire. Who else? Who's in the house? Spin the wheel. Darren Wagoner, D-Wag. You and Good Stuff, thank you so much for helping me retrieve that archival footage, cleaning it up, and putting it into broadcast shape. The world will know. And as we move forward in the show, my friends, if you want to see that footage again, you just let me know. There are crack mountains full of information. There's a story to tell, my friends, that has quite frankly never been told, never could be told until the last couple weeks. We've got I Borrow Ideas. Good to see you, my friend. So happy you could join us. If Peyton Holton shows up, I've got a little treat for him. Is he in the chat? Let's see. We're scrolling through. Antoine Dennison, another brother from another mother. Good to see you, Antoine. Glad you're here. We've got a treat for you today. Who else do we got? Robert Shepard. Good to see you. We're getting through here about Mach 3. Hicks Villain. So many people having a good time. That's what I like to see. What else do we got? Is that everybody? Let's scroll through. Love that you guys are here. NTM Comics. Hello, Noah. Good to see you. How's work going on your second book? I've seen a couple of posts. I haven't gotten a chance to hang with you in your chat. Recovery from COVID has been quite a chore, and I've been easing into work myself under the strictest supervision of a world-class healthcare professional, my wife, the Lady Fulton. And I'm happy to say that she has quite capably made sure that I have not tried to jump ahead and rush anything I shouldn't have rushed. There was one moment where I thought I could do a little more than what was recommended, and she was right there to say, "Boy, get back in that bed, get on that oxygen, and don't let me ever see you do that again. We got to keep you around." Because Lady Fulton and the littlest Fultons are quite happy that I've been back. I've been doing great. My what would you call it? My rate of recovery accelerates continually. I'm happy to say. When they had me in the hospital at my lowest point, the doctors told me I was at about 1% of my former physical capacity. And when they cut me loose, I was at 5%. And that, to them, that was such an enormous jump in all of the diagnostic data that they had me on: heart, lungs, oxygen saturation. They were pulling blood from me about every 3 hours, I think, checking everything. They just couldn't believe it. I think I've got 30 holes in my arms that have healed over just from all the blood draws. And that doesn't even count the IV, because they had me on blood thinners since so many COVID patients had blood clots early on, and they died from them. Clots in the lungs, heart, brain, you name it. So they had me on this blood thinner, and the nurse, I guess, when I was being cut loose, she didn't realize that the blood thinner was still in effect. And I've got a picture. I've asked the Lady Fulton to send it to me. I'm not sure if she's been able to do that yet. She's been very busy taking care of the littlest Fultons and also holding down the castle here. Just a phenomenal job. Any single guys out there who are making comics, trust me, you need the support of a spouse to really turbocharge your ability to fulfill your greatest potential. They will do things for you you never even knew you needed. Mrs. B has done that for Michael. We all know Aunt Andrea has done that for Ethan. The list just goes on and on and on. I mean, behind every successful person, there are many others who contributed to their success. And trust me when I say that any success that I've had or am having with the release of the Lucent and the incredibly positive reviews it's received. My favorite being from Telepathic Bunny Comics, who says it might be his favorite graphic novel ever, despite the fact he still has no idea what's going on. I love it. I love it. I told him that there's enough there on the surface to just enjoy what's there, even if you don't exactly know where it's going or if you have no idea where it's going. But I told him that the, in my opinion, the best part of the story, the way that Mike conceived it and originally wrote it, and then graciously allowed me to help him, let's say, optimize it according to the constraints of what the original work was, the amount of time that Mike had to try to publish it, the amount of time he thought he had, not knowing he was going to need a lot more time, all of the patience that everyone has shown to allow Mike to just give updates and be transparent about where we were at and basically say, you know, this thing could be so much better than what we had it at. We just needed a little more time. Would you guys be willing to give me that time? And you guys said, absolutely. Give us the best book you can. You've shown us everything we needed to see to continue to give you our trust. So just keep us updated and we'll get it when we get it. And we're looking forward to it. So I'm just so thankful that you guys treated Mike that way. Very proud to have had anything to do with the Lucent. One of the things I was saying to somebody, I think it was yesterday, is that the excuse me, this persistent cough. I'm not sure how long I'm going to have it. The doctors say it could last months, but you know, they told me when I was admitted into the hospital that I'd probably be there 3 to 6 months if I even recovered, and I rolled out of there in a week. And then when I was rolling out of there, they told me that I was on a unit where a lot of the patients had been in there for 9 months, intubated, just basically vegetating. So I really, when I've said publicly a few times that impossible is a word, it's not a limit or an excuse, it's because I've been living it. And I believed that before I got sick. But starting about 2 weeks ago, I've been living it every day, and I've been seeing people, not just talking about myself, but I've been seeing other people who have been not only realizing it, but they've been proving it to themselves and to others in CG. And I just can't tell you how much it means to me that people um, not only have been inspired by anything I've done or had any help doing for others, but the fact that they're taking it and they're just applying it, doing one nice thing for one person without any recognition or reward, expected or desired. And I'm watching it multiply and grow across CG, and can't tell you how happy that makes me. But let's get into this book, shall we? We were talking about the Lucent. We've got some goodies in here. Let's see. Let's see how they treated my poster. Well, Mike, they did bend it. They did wrinkle it, but you know what? I've got I got friends in high places and I got friends in low places. And you know what my friends in low places like to do? They like to take wrinkled comics, bent comics, and they like to do what we called pressing. And they can take a wrinkled up old bent comic and a clothes iron, and work some kind of application of skill and knowledge with that clothes iron and probably some other stuff and make that thing come out looking like mint condition. So I did. This one does have a little bend in the corner, but it's no big deal. We'll get that taken care of. Toot sweet and lickety split. Now, let's see. Let me clear the comment just so we can. Let's look at this next one. And I want to tell you guys, as the editor of the Lucent Waking Dream, I thought this was gorgeous when I saw the first version of it. And I kid you not, Mike amplified it I don't know how many times. This is one of the first images I ever saw of the Lucent, and I was able to spot the character of Ella, and I thought that was the coolest thing I had seen in comics in a very long time. Let's see what you guys are saying. Antoine was saying his poster got dinged but it wasn't that bad. No big deal. Mel says, "Gosh, they must have thrown the packages around." Yeah, Melanie, I'm sorry, but UPS. I don't know if they're in Australia or if they are what they're like, but in America, they are vicious. And I know because I used to work there, and I could not believe what I saw some of those guys do. I was an unloader, so I would crawl into the back of a 53-foot what we call dry fan trailer, or you might call it a container or a box, 53 feet long, and we would just crawl in there and unload all that stuff. And oh, Peyton Holden, I've been waiting for you, my friend. Let's see. Let's pull up Twitter. Peyton says, genuinely happy you recovered from the coof. Just imagine how great you'd feel if you'd followed me on Twitter. Well, Peyton, we're going to find out just how great I'm going to start feeling after I follow you on Twitter, which I'm going to do right now. And I'm not even going to put it on the screen. I'm going to rely on you to let the chat know if I am a man of my word or not. Because you cracked me up in the hospital, Peyton, among many other people. But you in particular got me rolling on a day that was extremely rough. And I was laughing so hard I was crying. And so, even though I normally don't follow people who say follow me, because I changed using Twitter several years ago, and then I changed it again a couple of times, changing it from just trying to meet people to turning it into an actual productive use or a productive tool I could use in growing my business. And so, because of the way that I'm writing you a message, Peyton, and I'm gonna DM it to you. And if you don't mind, I'd like you to quote it in the chat, and then please answer the question, if you don't mind. Of course, you can do whatever you want. You always have, and I hope you always will. Anyway, with Twitter, the reason why I don't follow everyone I would like, even nearly as many people as I'd like to do, is because I found out that for if you really want to grow it for business reasons, you really need to have a lot more people following you than who you're following. And so, unfortunately, when I found that out, I just unfollowed a lot of people, and I have not followed many I would like to. So, Peyton, I give you an inch and you try and take a mile immediately. Peyton says, if you make me a mod, you'll be invincible. Oh, see, that's what I mean. The guy cracks me up. We'll see, Peyton. We'll see what happens. We'll see what you do with this Twitter follow. Okay, we'll just wait and see. I'm not saying you won't be a mod on this channel. I'm just saying we're gonna wait and see. Oh, thank you, Mo. I said earlier I salute you. You're an exemplar of mercy and humor and goodwill and security patrol for this channel. I appreciate you, buddy. So let's get into the rest of this quick pack here. I will say, Mike and Mel, this thing got torn up. I don't know if you can see that. It does have battle scars, but it held up really well. The tape job, phenomenal. What else do we got here? I don't know if I can. Can I get this all out in one shot? It looks like you served it up on a cardboard platter for me, so I'm going to go for it. It feels like it's all basically ready to slide out. Can we serve it up on a single platter? Look at this packing job from Mel B. It's no wonder I call her the Queen of Australia. She's got the sensibilities of an Aussie woman, the grace and class of a French woman, and when Mike is being especially bogan, she can go full German on his bum. Mike, You hit the jackpot in the lottery of wife. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it looks like I've got quite the comps here. So I'm just going to take one. Oh, what's this? Mel says there are messages written on the inside of the box. Okay, do you want those messages read? If you want them read publicly, I'll do that happily. If they're for my eyes only, then I will look for them after the show's over. I'm just scrolling back through to see if okay, I think I'm caught up. Hey, have a good dinner, Neff. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Oh, look at this. My message to Peyton in DM is, how you like me now? And his response is, he adores me. I suspect he's sniffing around for that wrench. Okay, Mike says, sure, read them live. Just a little something from the kids. Okay. Guys, look at the way that Mike and Mel roll. Okay, here's one package, basically, right? And they are so good to me. Let me move this headset. I've got to stack up this pile of treasure over here. Okay, so we're going to open one of these just in a bit after we read the message from the kids. So there's 1, 2, and these are like mega packs of books and stickers and extras, and you know what? 3. So these 3 giant, and these are heavy. When I open one of these up, you're going to see how much stuff is in here. And Mike told me this is just the beginning, so I can't imagine what's coming down the road later on. Okay, so we'll set those aside for 1 second. Let me check the chat. Mo says, read them aloud, especially if they're embarrassing to Bancroft. Oh, you know I will. Simonon says, even though you never laid a hand on Joe, your eyes adore him. 70. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Rob. Ozzy. Oi, oi, oi. Rob says, I didn't get any comps. Hey, Rob. Mel says, I'm going to leave that one up there. That's one of my favorite comments of the night. Okay, let me get into this box. That's what he said. Let's see. I know I've got a blade over here, but the Lady Fulton had to commandeer my workstation, my broadcast studio, because she works from home as well. And there was something that happened while I was in the hospital. I'm still not clear what it was, but she had to take over my. She had to take over the con here. All right, now let's see. Keeping up with messages. Ibarro says, guess which end that came from, Rob. Believe me, if I could float it all the way to Australia, he would find out exactly which end it was. Simonon says, take off the glasses, Joe. We need to see you cry live as you read. Oh my gosh, you guys. How can I deny you? I had these glasses on because my eyes are still adjusting from cosmic ray exposure, but I'm feeling footloose and fancy free, so let's see what we can do here. All right, I'm not blind, so let's proceed. Let me just put these right up here. All right, now that you guys all can see my baby blues. Now, I don't know where these messages are, so I'm just going to have to go on an adventure, do a little exploration, a little spinky dinky doo, or whatever it is that the Aussies call it when they go flip-flopping around the outback, wearing their thongs. Yes, I said thongs. Peyton says, share the stream and smang the like button. Red Boar Comics and Games. I'd love to see a Joe EFAP of the Crackhead cut after some time, like when 2 or 3 comes out. I would love to do it. Um, as a matter of fact, I would love to, at some point after the books have all been out, people have had a chance to read them. If Mike would be willing to join me for an editor's commentary show, I'd love to go through the book and just explain certain things to you guys. No spoiler reveals, but just to kind of walk you through the process of what Mike went through, because as much as he has talked about it, he's just barely scratched the surface. And I think you guys would really want to know. Uh, I think you guys would really want to know just how much time and work he's put in um, to remastering this book. It really is phenomenal, and the all of the Danger Vanessa, welcome. Good to see you. All of the time and the work and the just the brain breaking mental puzzles that Mike had to solve. And believe me, I I solved the ones that it seemed like he was just not seeing were there. So I would point him out, and if he was still stumped, then I would offer suggestions. And I don't think, Mike, you correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I ever sat there and said, "Well, Mike, this is what you do." I think what I did, it's certainly my intent, to just kind of ask questions and get him going down a particular line of thought, which in my experience from when I was trying to break into writing, well, actually long before that, just learning how to go from being an aspiring writer to just going through all the trials and tribulations of writing a bunch of stuff that was no good and then trying to figure out how to make it good. It's quite an experience. I'm going to mute for a second because there's a lot of adhesive here, and I don't want to fry your eardrums. So I'm going to mute. I'm going to rip this open gently and then continue. Okay, so this says, let's see. Let me catch up with the chat before I get into this, and then we'll read the messages from the kids. Force Publishing. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that in the mic. Force Publishing. Thank you, Richard, for joining. It's good to see you. Um, Rob Arnold says he'll join the editor's commentary, give his expert commentary as well. I think maybe we'll put it up to a vote, Rob. We'll see what the chat has to say about that. I borrow ideas says save those expert commentary for your streams, Rob. Oh, good, Mike. Referring to the editing process, he said it was a very easy process. Nothing felt forced. Good. It was just a lot of. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. At nighttime, the coughs just keep rolling. I'm really gonna try to mute or turn away and not hit you with these coughs right in your eardrums. Mr. Fowler, thank you, sir. Welcome to the party. Yeah, we got a note from the littlest Bancrofts. As soon as we get caught up with the chat, I'm going to read them out to you guys. Mo says, "I didn't want to risk impregnating any female viewers with his massive high T. That's true. I've impregnated the Lady Fulton many times. I'm happy to say that we're as far as we know, we're quite finished. So yeah, I'm trying to keep those high T grunts under control, Mo. You got me. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. So let's get into this. It says from either Mel or Mike. I'll let you guys be the judge. That says, "We love you, Joe," and has a heart. I'm pretty sure that's not the handwriting of the kids. If you think that's Mike's chicken scratch, well, you think very highly of him. What does this say here? Oh, isn't this sweet? It says, I don't know if I can get this all on camera, but I'll give it a shot. Thank you for being Papa's editor. Love from Victoria. And a big old heart up there. Thank you, Victoria. I love your note. That makes me very happy. And Clark signed his name too. Clark, thank you so much for signing. Thank you. That's great. This makes me so happy. And just knowing, Clark, that you disavow quack makes me even happier. We love the pack, but we have to disavow the quack. And maybe later in this show, ladies and gentlemen, you'll hear some of that story. How could I have a history where I somehow have knowledge, secret, lost, found, hidden, of the source of Crack Mountain, and yet I disavow the crack? How could I visit Crack Planet? How could I discover it, much less visit it, much less step foot on it, much less plant a flag on it? 2 flags, maybe, so the legend says. And yet I still disavow that quack. There's a story there, my friends. Fortunately, I happen to be a storyteller. Some people think I'm a pretty good one. And when there's a giant story that cannot possibly be told in a moment's time or a single show, then we have to go through it in chapters. And so that's what we're doing, my friends. Let me just stick my notes from my favorite my favorite Bogans. Oh, there we go. My favorite Bogans named Bancroft. Okay. Looks like it's not going to fall over. All right. So, you guys, chat, you've been so patient with me. I'd like to give you a choice here. Would you like me to get into one of these Lucent bundles with all the books and the goodies and whatnot and show them on camera? Would you like me to crack open the book and maybe relate a few little anecdotes from a particular page? Or would you like to hear more of the story behind the archival footage that we saw at the beginning of the show? And for those who have joined the show after the beginning, I'd be happy to show it again so you're fully aware of the context behind the things that I'm talking about. So you just let me know. I'm going to get caught up on your chats here, your messages, and you let me know what you'd like to do from here. Oh, D-Geek Art, there's Elizabeth, the Outlier Comics graphic designer. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I am feeling so much better. I went from being what the doctor said was 1% left of my physical capacity in my hospital bed to the moment where I realized I had the choice to actually take my own recovery by the horns and just wrestle that bull to the ground my own way, not what they were telling me had to be done. So once I realized that, that's exactly what I did. I just reached out, grabbed the horns, and started cranking that thing to the ground. And I slammed it so hard that it didn't know what hit it. And from that point forward, it was just incredible recovery. The doctors and nurses, they have all the data. They still can't explain it. So all I can say is recovery is going fantastic. When I went from 1% to 5%, they cut me loose. They originally thought they told me it might take 2 to 3 months. Later, when they were getting me out of there, they said they thought it was really going to be 3 to 6 months. And then right when they cut me loose, they said there were people who had COVID as bad as I did. I don't know if they also had double pneumonia like I did, which just makes everything far more complicated for them to treat. But I rolled out of there in a week, and they said I was about 5% capacity. And I think Mike said in the chat earlier, the the rate of recovery is 500%. You go from 1% to 5%. And then I'm happy to say that we went from, and I say we because my whole family and you guys have been a big part of this. We went from 5% the night I got home, And yes, I know we've got Marines here in the show, and I'd just like to say that although I never was a Marine, unfortunately, my broken, battered body, even by the age of 18, 19 years old, would not have passed the physical. I still tried to get into the Army because, well, quite frankly, as the Marines like to say, the Army will take anybody. But I wouldn't even have passed the Army physical between pediatric arthritis and Osgood-Schlatters disease, which is a kind of a mysterious thing in the knees where it randomly makes your knees collapse. Um, yeah, I wouldn't have made it. So I ended up going another route and getting into a technical field where I went into high tech communications and uh, like avionics, airplane electronics, and got into secure communications, and that kind of started my first career. Um, so anyway, kind of went down a little bit of a tangent there, but I just want to say to my Marines that are in the chat, to my soldiers, airmen, sailors, guardsmen, I'm happy to say that when I got home the first night, I did everything that I needed to do that the doctors said to start the recovery off right. And excuse me. And my nurse, my wife, who literally is someone. She's a medical professional with world class nursing credentials, on top of all the other stuff that she's done since then. Um, she's had a very close eye on me, and because she knows me better than anyone on this planet, she also has the added benefit of compounding all the knowledge of she has of me as my wife onto her nursing capabilities, onto her other medical qualifications. So I could not have asked for a better caregiver during my recovery. And I would say that in the last 2 weeks, I went from 5%, where I got all my stuff done the first night, and then the last thing I did was said, physical therapy starts now, recovery starts now. And I realized, oh, Vanessa, I said my guardsmen. Maybe I wasn't clear. That means both the Coast Guard, well, for me anyway, both the Coast Guard and the National Guard. So, um, you know, yeah, the Coast Guard patrolling the waters, absolutely. There's love there for them. I've known, well, I've known military personnel from all five branches, and yes, the Coast Guard is the fifth branch. Any Marines who don't like it, one of my Navy chaplain buddies once said, just if the Marines don't try to say they're not part of the Navy, just ask them what DON means, which means Department of Navy, which apparently is one of the classifications that the Marine Corps falls under. So there you go, Coast Guard. That one's for you. But anyway, so for my Marines out there who I think will especially find this uh, something they can relate to, I get home, I do everything I have to do for my physical therapy, my respiratory therapy, make sure that my wife feels like I'm not going to keel over. And we, sorry, sorry. Danger Vanessa says we are the men's department of the Navy. Oh, oh, I've got a lot of military friends. I know several who would love that. Well, well, Vanessa, in the spirit of that comment, I hope you and the other Marines that are in the chat or who hear this, excuse me, excuse me. Let me get a little glug of water here. Oh, that COVID will do a number on your lungs, I'll tell you. Um, our ideas, yeah, your lungs are getting an extra workout, Joe. Believe it or not, I've been working up to this moment for about a week, and I've been literally working out my lungs just like anybody would work out their arms or their back or their legs. And so the first night I was home, and no matter what I look like or sound like, believe me, I feel 100% all the time. I have no complaints. I literally feel better every day than I did the day before, and so it's. I've been telling people I live life on easy mode now. Every day is the best day of my life until I wake up the next morning because that one's even better. And so, um, So anyway, back to my start of PT, physical training. I hope that my military service members out there, my brothers and sisters, although I never got to serve in an active role, certainly not. I was never a door kicker. I was never a tanker or a gunner, but um, those of you who served in support roles and logistics roles, you know what the generals and the admirals and excuse me, all of the Joint Chiefs of Staff know that soldiers win battles and support and logistics win wars. And so if the chow's not delivered on time, if the water line isn't supplied, if ammo isn't in place when it needs to be and the quantities it needs to be, and a million other things, wars get lost. And that's true going all the way back into ancient times. Anyway, so there I am. I've got all my stuff done for my first night home. I'm about to fall into bed. And I think one last thing. I got to get some PT in. So what can I do? I can't do push-ups yet. My lungs are too weak. My whole chest and abdomen just got rocked when I got sniped with a COVID round through the back, exploded in my lungs. Um, I was thinking I got to do something. I just can't go to bed without starting PT. I got to do something. And I realized that my legs were probably the most unaffected of anything. So I thought, all right, time for some deep squats. Count them out. So I lined up my form, put out my hands, my arms straight towards the edge of the bed, just in case I lost my balance, because my balance got rocked as well. Um, all of the kind of data processing stuff inside the brain got rocked. So I thought, all right, there's no way I'm going to fall over and worry Lady Fulton. So we're going to do this right. So I got my form lined up, feet shoulder width apart, feet straight, flat on the carpet, and slowly, calmly lowered myself down for that first deep squat. Let the old brass clankers get polished by the carpet. Stood back up, slow and steady, nice and controlled. One. That's right. Ibar Idea says strengthening those thunder buns. I tell you, man, even the thunder buns took a devastating hit from this COVID. This stuff will turn your entire musculature into jello faster than you would believe it. And I knew that I would have some atrophy in the hospital, just laying there doing nothing for a week. COVID destroys muscle fiber just like every other fiber of your body. So I'm at the point now where in let's see, in 1 week of the hospital, I went from 1% capacity to 5%. And then being home with my family and being able to spend so much more time with you guys because I got my mental acuity back after the oxygen deprivation had really started wearing off and all my memories were coming back and I could think clearly again. And it just, that's when the recovery really took off. And so I counted off 5 deep squats right there at the end of the bed. I'm happy to say perfect form. Uh, Carpet polished those brass clankers 5 times. And by the time I stood up and locked out the knees, I felt like I had actually done a workout that I could accept as being work. But it wasn't dangerous. It wasn't anywhere near the threshold where um, anybody would need to be worried. I got really good in the hospital of really being careful as I'm pushing myself beyond the limits that conventional quote unquote medical wisdom says I'm supposed to be limited by. So everything's been going great. I've been walking every day. My kids, my wife come with me. Yesterday, I actually walked around all the way around the block, which for us, that involves hills, inclines, declines. And I'm happy to say that I posted a comfortable pace and inadvertently left the wife and kids in the dust. So I told my youngest, he wanted me to stop and wait for him. And I said, sorry, son, I got to do this walk. I can't stop, but I'll turn around backwards and that'll slow me down a little bit. You come catch up with me. So he caught up with me and I basically put my arm around him and he put his arm around me and I helped him up the hill and was very happy that I was able to show him that, if you have the right support in place and you have an unbreakable spirit, the mind really is the most powerful part of the body. Absolutely. And if anybody tells you that you want to do something is impossible, tell them that's a word. We use it in stories to communicate ideas. It's not a limit. It's not an excuse. Well, it's an excuse for people who don't understand. I will put it that way because I used to believe it, long time ago. Thankfully, some people helped me expand my perspective a little bit, and I saw them do things that I thought was impossible. They showed me that it wasn't. And so, if you have people who have COVID, maybe it's you, maybe it's a loved one, maybe you've got anxiety about getting it. I will say that the thing I really wish I would have done differently is, excuse me, I wish I would have gotten tested a lot earlier instead of just trying to power through this feeling of being sick. Welcome, Jose Garcia. Glad you could join us. Good to see you, mi amigo. Um, what I really wish I would have done is got tested earlier, a lot earlier, because then I would have tested positive and basically been checked in with a mild case, and then I could have been, you know, in and out in a few days, and then wouldn't have taken such a hard hit. But we all have limits. Sometimes the limit is physical, sometimes it's intellectual, sometimes it's psychological, like just trying to power through being really sick, like I always did in the past, and paid the price for it. So there you go. Okay, so guys, we're kind of at a point in the show now where we're an hour in. I don't want to keep you too long, but I also don't want to stop the party if you guys are having fun. So I want to throw it out to you. Do you want me to go? Do you want me to wrap up the show and we'll do this again next week? Do you want me to dig into the Lucent, one of those bundles? Um, do you want to hear more of the story of the archival footage? Some of the details I can reveal. They can't all be revealed now, but there are some I can reveal as to where the footage came from, exactly what it means, some of what it means for the future. You guys let me know. You move, I move. That's how this works. That's how this show works. I want this to be like a 3-day weekend for everybody, or at the very least, if you have to go back to work on a Monday, you're not looking forward to it, your weekend's over. I hope that you can at least look forward to the evening where we can all hang out together, just like we do on the Bancroft Bogan Variety Hour. This show is supposed to be kind of a continuation of that, the place where everybody knows your name and you just want to hang out there. So this is your show. I'm just sort of steering the rudder here, but you guys are the engines. So it looks like you guys want more crack stories. Looks like you want to reveal more about the Rock. Let's get some of these up on the screen here. Mo, thank you for your concern. I'm actually great right now. I'm well rested. I took a nap earlier today because I knew I would need the extra energy tonight. One of the kind of crazy things about all of this is I've gotten really, really in tune with my body to the point where I know what kind of nutrition it needs. So I just eat only what I feel like it needs in that moment, but I eat a lot of it because it's taken thousands and thousands of calories per day to build back all of the muscle and bone and everything. And especially to do it so quickly, it requires just unbelievable amounts of calories, but they're all like nutritionally dense. So the great thing is it's all being used as fuel, and there's very, very little inefficiency there. So sleep is kind of like the same thing. I for the longest time I would just sleep when I felt like I needed to sleep, and I'd wake up when I was done. And even if it was only 2 hours and it was in my so-called deathbed, it was so restorative that I would just wake up feeling like $1,000,000 before the symptoms. Before the symptoms, when I had the symptoms, I should say, I couldn't sleep. It was all broken and it was awful. But these days, I am just ready and raring to go. So I get enough sleep, I get enough to eat, I get enough exercise, and then I'm slowly this last weekend and now this week, just easing back into work real slowly, and I'm just having a ball. So okay, looks like you guys want more. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to show the archival footage one more time. This is an archival film that I want you guys to know that our boy Darren Wagoner, went on a covert mission to retrieve some of this footage because some of it, quite frankly, to the best of my ability to discern, was classified so far beyond what's listed in any government agency, any military branch, NASA, Space Force. That's not even the tip of the tiniest iceberg. That you see the little point of the ice above the water, but what you don't see is the miles of ice below the surface. You could say Crack Mountain is kind of like that. So I'll get the film going. I just wanted to shout out DWAG for getting some of this footage that, quite frankly, I don't think anyone else could have gotten. And Good Stuff Comics Gator for pulling it all together because, quite frankly, my friends, this would have just been clips. You wouldn't have really known what one had to do with the other, but with the information provided by DWAG, Good Stuff was able to pull it all together and actually create a film. So big shout outs to those guys, the rest of the Crack Pack. You guys, I know you guys are doing stuff behind the scenes to make this stuff happen that I don't even know about. And so thank you for all you do for CG, the entertainment you bring, sometimes misunderstood, but as I tried to clear up the other day, it's all in good fun. Nobody in Crack Pack actually harms anyone else, and I think you guys are absolutely hilarious. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get down to business. Okay, we got our Crack Pack boys. Love those Muppets. They're squirrely, but if there's anybody out there, I heard some rumblings that some people were thinking that the Crack Pack was. I think people just didn't understand that they're goofing around, they're having a good time. But if you guys see them like I don't know, you think they're mistreating each other or anything, trust me, they're all in on it. They're just having a goof. Questions. Mo. Mo. Oh, that's a good one. I always avow the pack. I cannot. I'm sorry, but I must not and cannot avow the crack. It's not a casual thing. I'm afraid there's history there. You guys may have seen a little something like this on Crack Mountain, maybe in the possession of DWAG. Let's just say that I've never been to Crack Mountain, but in my travels through the cosmos, boys, Crack Pack, Crack Mountain's not the end-all be-all. Crack Mountain, think of it as a love note from Crack Planet.
Joe decided to set out on his journey to discover Crack Rock Planet. When Joe arrived at Crack Rock Planet, he planted the Crack Pack flag alongside the U.S. flag. He then decided to take a hunk of the planet, for research. He then realized that the Crack Pack was about supporting one another and helping each other, rather than tearing each other down.
Tell you what, friends, when I was riding that rocket, couldn't have been more proud. So, would you guys like to ask questions and that I will answer the best of my ability? Would you like me to tell a little bit of the story? behind Crack Planet, Crack Mountain, perhaps maybe Viper himself. I leave it up to you. We can either tell a story or I could answer your questions. I'm going to look at your comments while we get your answers. Past Master Dan, legendary. Jose Garcia, that's correct, my friend. No cowards on Crack Planet. Viper, my old student. Bittersweet day, my friend. See you here again. We had quite a history, didn't we? Oh, let's see what the chat's saying. Mo, yeah. Oh, I did a whole lot more than just meet Viper. We go way back, Mo. Remember, I had never hid anything from anybody, but there were some things that could not be spoken of unless the time was right, and Lord Ravener has it. When I saw the light, it might as well have been lightning from inside of Crack Planet, emanating straight out, streaking through the cosmos until it hit Crack Mountain. And then it might as well have sent lightning bolts powered by the thunder. Let's just get this over here. There we go. Lightning bolts from Crack Planet to Crack Mountain and then out to every crack rock in the known universe. Through the power of quantum entanglement and Crack Planet and the good vibe wave action of Comicsgate, it's all tied together. Just like the dude's rug, it really tied the room together. This substance, what we see in the back alleys of the highways and byways of the butt cracks of society, it looks like one thing, smells like one thing, tastes like one thing, does one type of particular thing to, scramble the minds of otherwise normal people. But it's like if you had drain cleaner and it was intended to bring enlightenment to the human race, but because of the actions of a misguided individual who did not understand, did not believe its true potential, instead turned it into something that cleans whatever Cecil barfs up after a 4-day bender of Special K and booger sugar and bourbon and ice cubes. And we'll just clean that mess out of your drain, disinfecting all the bacteria. Drain cleaner. Never intended to be drain cleaner. Always intended to be so much more. But if people only know it as drain cleaner, if that's what's in their perspective, their frame of reference for how they view the world, how could they ever know that it was always meant to be so much more? So, there's several things we could talk about related to this piece of Crack Planet. One might say it's simultaneously a piece of Crack Mountain, as I said, due to the nature of quantum entanglement. So let's take a look at the chat. We'll see where you guys want to go. We can discuss my previous relationship, you might say, mentorship, one might say, with Viper, teacher, student, bit of a falling out. Any questions you ask, I will do my best to answer. D Geek Art, I don't blame you. In some ways, we're all lost, but yes, it is very cool. If you have a chat with Darren Wagner or Good Stuff Comic Skater, I think they'll be able to fill you in as much as any one person could at this point in time. There's so much lore to uncover and discuss and reveal and live by. Okay, Publish and Pete Smitty, I saw you in the chat. Where did you jump into the pool here? Mo says we need a star map to crack planet. I'm happy to say that map is right up here. And this, my friends, is many things. I've been calling it my space helmet. In one sense, it is. In another sense, it's a trophy of war. I took the scalp of my vanquished foe. I decided to turn it into a hat. What you see here, little bits of COVID viral cell, the spark of the viral load that has built up pressure inside the love muscle of the devil himself, sprayed, spurted, shot across the entire planet. Guess what, my friends? There's a disinfectant for that particular virus. It's human virtue, delivered on the waves of good vibe energy. And this symbol of a victory over a deadly foe, there's my brother from another mother, Publishing Pete Smitty. Glad you could join us. You're just in time to jump on the train. It started chugging about a week ago. It's just barely picking up speed. And you, my friend, are in for the ride of your life. So, Mo, Steve Worster, with your offer to 3D print a spaceship, get ready for the adventure of a lifetime, my friends. The star map is up here. Cannot be downloaded into any operating system or hard drive on this planet. I know because I looked. I spent approximately 220 hours looking. All from the comfort of my hospital quote-unquote deathbed, accessing the internet superhighway to the stars, to the quantum realm, and everywhere in between. Does not exist. It has to come from here, projected through here, out to all of you. And if we work together, we will continue to build up Comicsgate. And there will come a day. I've already seen it. Believe it, don't believe it, I'm content with any reaction you have. It's already happened. The only thing that's stopping us from realizing it is it takes time for us to get there to the point where it happened, so that we can look backwards and say, the point in time where Joe told us it already happened there was back here. And we didn't realize it until we took the time to get there. And once we did, we stood up, we turned around, looked back there, and we saw a chain of events going all the way back to the very first moment when Joe Fulton met Viper. Now, I don't want to get too far into quantum mechanics. I mistakenly, when it was a little too early, I tried to reach out to some of my very close friends, Michael Bancroft being one. Due to oxygen deprivation, all I was trying to do is tell him, Mike, I'm alive, I'm feeling great, I might even be cured, I don't know, I got to wait to see what the docs say, but, a few minutes ago, I felt like garbage. Now, I feel like a new man, inside and out, upside down, left, right, front, back, top of my head, tips of my toes. I feel like I'm cured. What came out, because my eggs were scrambled from the oxygen deprivation, was something like a 45-minute to a 1-hour university-style lecture on the fundamental theories and known observable behaviors of the quantum universe. So, I have been learning ever since then how to take what I've learned since my ascension, as Rob Arnold so adroitly put it. Perhaps for the first time in his life. I don't know. I don't want to make such a presumption. I've only known him for, oh gosh, it feels like it's been decades. Oh, all good. Trust me. Every day has been a delight. The time has passed so quickly; it only felt like an eternity. But I really do think he might be onto something when he called it an ascension. Maybe an expansion of consciousness, of life experience, of capacity for future Thunderbuns action. Time will tell. All I can do is say that what was before is still here, and more. And so as time passes, I'll be showing a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Now let's get caught up with the chat. Eyebrow Ideas saying, take us home, Joe. I'm doing my best, my friend. There's so much to get through. Matt Fowler, oh, I can't even tell you how accurate you are with that statement. So much baking soda. So much baking soda. Micah says, as Einstein called it, spooky craction at a distance. Einstein knew what was up. Let's see. Spinning through the comments here. Let's try and get us caught up. Oh, where he is. Viper. You've learned, my friend. Life has not always been kind to you, but I see you have gained a measure of wisdom. I'm very happy to see that. Mike says, when I gave him the physics lecture, I thought I was talking with Richard Feynman from another plane. Sorry, Mike. It all made sense to me. I thought it was about 3 sentences that I told you. I thought it took about 30 seconds. Reading back, I saw it was quite something else. Oh, what is this? Lord Ravener says, I boycotted the kangaroo trial. Injustice anywhere is a threat to crackhead everywhere. I will say, when I was cruising through the cosmos, I received a distress call. Now, I showed a bit of a chunk of Crack Planet, and I will say that I received a distress call from D-Wag saying he'd been wrongfully accused, that he'd had justice denied. And I said, D-Wag, say no more. I'm coming home. So on my journey back from Crack Planet, yeah, you surmised correctly. Looking at the U.S. flag and the Crack Pack flag with my old student, my old friend Viper. And I remember the time where he first said to me, y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. I remember that very clearly. And I remember thinking, Viper, I thought you understood. But now, today, I know you never ever knew me at all. And that was the beginning, my friends, of a rift between myself and my student, Viper, that would eventually turn into a split and then sadly a break. And I remember one day checking on Viper after time had passed and him not understanding the true nature, the true power even, the truth, the impact of what Crack Planet and by extension Crack Mountain, because yes, friends, Crack Mountain you can think of as an asteroid that broke off from Crack Planet, that flew through space and time, that entered the Earth's atmosphere, became a meteor, and then, as you saw in the archival footage, streaked through the Earth's atmosphere until it not crashed, more like gently settled into its current location, known as Crack Mountain. And that meteorite, as we know as Crack Mountain, is a node, let's say, in the fabric of the universe, the fabric of all the fundamental particles, bound together by space-time, gravity, and other fundamental forces that we know of through quantum theory, which in some very real ways is quantum fact, I assure you. And let's just say that due to quantum entanglement, that what happens on Crack Planet can, in a way, happen on Crack Mountain, and vice versa. And if there's a chunk of crack planet that is here and can be activated with a little thunder and lightning from here, then, my friends, what you have is a beacon, a communication device, a piece of life itself, that through the mysteries of quantum entanglement can be used to communicate across space and time, across any amount of matter you want to put in the way of this and the one just like it in the possession of Darren Wagner. And through the power of what we call crack, but which I assure you is so much more. And I only know this through the experience I had where my consciousness was awakened. As Rob Arnold says, I ascended the mortal plane, learned a few things, saw a few things, came back to Earth. I had to share what I learned. But there's so much information. It can only be shared a little bit at a time. And so over the days and weeks and months and years that we continue down this road together, I will share as much as I possibly can. But I have to do it in a way that the human consciousness, as it was for me before the moment, between moments, where my consciousness received an expansion, an upgrade. I think of it as an upgrade. With some of my friends, I've referred to it as the upgrade. It's as if my operating system was upgraded from what it was to all that it was, but yet more. New features, bugs removed, expanded capabilities. And with these expanded capabilities, my friends, I learned the true nature of the substance that came from Crack Mountain, which first came from Crack Planet. And now is in the possession of myself, Darren Wagner, and a few others. And I promise you, the Crack Pack is not here to destroy. The Crack Pack is here to build. The Crack Pack is here to encourage, to lift up, to inspire each and every one of us to become the very best that we can possibly be in any moment, to our maximum capacity to do so. To do anything we possibly can, to give of ourselves with maximum efficiency, to empower maximum effectiveness, which then delivers maximum impact for good. Darkness can only exist in the absence of light, my friends. We turn that light on, darkness retreats. We turn that light up brighter, darkness flees. We light up the universe, my friends. And all of a sudden, it's good vibe wave action every single day. Not just that, but every single hour. Not just that, but every single minute. Not just that, but every single second, every single moment, in between moments where you can be existing inside and outside of space-time. Heavens above, hell below, matter, antimatter, time, anti-time, crack, and so much more. And so every single moment that we have, my friends, let's make the most of it. Let's not waste time. Let's make the most of time. And let's move forward as we learn more about what this really is. Not what it has turned into, not what it's misunderstood to be, but what it truly is, my friends. And as we move forward, we will be a shining light, a city on a hill, so bright that darkness has no chance but to run. Like the chump that the Grim Reaper was when it tried to swing its scythe at me in my hospital bed, and I reached out with my 2 fingers, popped him right into his eye holes, picked him up off the ground, twirled him around, threw him across the floor on his bony pelvis, where he slid through my room. A nurse happened to open the door to see how I was doing. He slid through the door, down the hall, hit the unit desk, and bow into dust. And I laughed so hard, my friends, when that happened, that the nurse, who was down the hall, across the way at the unit desk, came running in. And that's the nurse who opened the door. And she said, "Are you all right, sir? Are you all right?" And I was laughing so hard, by that point I was crying. I said, "This is the greatest day of my life. I've never been better." And she said, "Are you sure, sir?" I said, "I am positive. Is there anything I could do for you? I'm having such a great day. I'd like to share the love. How are you doing?" "Oh, okay, sir. Well, I'm doing great. I just want to check on you." "I'm doing fabulous. This is the best day of my life." She shut that door. I settled back into my so-called deathbed, realizing I was going to have to put another notch on the belt. This was now the 6th time I was supposedly died, and said, not today, Reaper. I got work to do." From that moment forward, my friends, first day of the rest of my life. And I assure you, as we go forward, as you learn that Viper is not now who he used to be, and yet can be so much more than he ever was, as we learn about, excuse me, the true nature of the Crack Pack and what their mission in life really is, mysteries await, my friends. We can solve them together. It's just going to take time. Trust me when I say the moment that we have all understood what Crack Planet truly is about, and through quantum entanglement is represented by Crack Mountain, when you see Darren Wagoner ascend Crack Mountain the next time, in record time, the only time he has ever ascended it the way he's about to ascend it, I'm just putting it out there, ladies and gentlemen. Kick the tires, make sure they're in good shape, because when D-Wag lights the fires, this rocket is going to fly. And when you see what's painted on it, it's going to blow your minds. So I'm going to take a scroll through the chat here. I'm going to take a couple glugs, wet the old whistle, and we'll see where we're at, and then we'll go from there. How does that sound? We've still got a party invite to write to the U.S. military. We can do that. We can answer some questions about what we've just heard. I'm at your service. So let me just take a quick scroll, take a few glugs, and then we'll get this train really moving. Because we never stop, my friends. The train slowed down so that more people could get on, like my buddy Pete Cimetti. But this train will not stop until it reaches its final destination. Okay, I think I'm caught up, so let's go through here. Steve Worcester saying we need space crack. You already have it, my friend. You've always had it. And soon we'll find out that you are, in a very real way, space crack. My old student, my old friend Viper. What do I see in the Crack Pack's future? I see the fulfillment of a mission. I see, excuse me, excuse me. At night, the old coughs come a little quicker, but I assure you, I feel totally fine. I've been training for this moment for 2.5 weeks. I'm good to go. Uh, yeah, I see the fulfillment of its mission, Viper. I was there. I saw it. Now we just have to patiently allow time to take us there. Eric Huffle says, "What if you had fish tank cleaner intended to cure the Wu flu?" Well, then I would wonder, why would it be marketed as fish tank cleaner? I would wonder why it's not marketed as a cure for the Wu flu. Robert Shipper says he can cook crack in 0G bow. Wow, that's impressive. Osgreat Sage says, "Hail Joe in chat. I see Joe has seen through the veils of reality through crack." Well, my friend Oz, what you know is crack, I know is something entirely different. And that entirely different, yes, you could absolutely say that I did see through the veils of reality. Quite perceptive. Steve Worcester says, "Quantum what?" That might have been when I was talking about quantum entanglement. If you do a search on, I'll put it in the chat. If you want to do a search on quantum entanglement, put that into any web browser, put it into YouTube, and just before you see how far down the rabbit hole you'll go, you might want to use the bathroom, have a snack, maybe take a nap. Because once you get started, I can't guarantee you'll ever stop. Mo says, "As Joe discovered the anti-cowardice equation." That's one part of it, Mo. There's so much more. I will say this. Human virtue is the secret. If you look up what we traditionally understand to be human virtues, love, peace, joy, etc., selflessness, kindness, mercy, you're well on your way to discovering the anti-cowardice equation, which is one component of so much more that we will discover together, my friends. It just takes time. Was Crack Planet flat? No. Excellent question, Mr. Fowler. It's actually, if I were to try to take infinitudes of information that I perceive when I turn my attention toward Crack Planet, and to just kind of scale it down all the way to just distill to the most fundamental components, right? To the amount of information I would have had access to perceive before I got sick. Here's what I would say. Imagine an orange, okay, that you could peel at any point in time. And if you peel it in just the right way, you can take a bite out of that orange in a way so that none of the juice runs down your lip and into your beard, like when Luke Skywalker was drinking the silly green soy milk from the sea monster's booby. If you imagine that not happening, okay, you just take a bite of that orange, and every single drop of that juice goes through your sensory input, travels up and back and then up again into your neofrontal cortex, swirls around and marinates it in a bath of endorphins, which produces a feeling of euphoria. Now you see where we're going. Here on Earth, we call it crack. We say it makes us feel good if we partake. I, myself, as I've said many times, I'm unable. It's not that I'm unwilling, although I am unwilling. It's more than that. It's I'm unable. Physically incapable, my friends, of smoking crack, snorting crack, touching crack, licking crack, sidling up next to crack and saying, "Hey, baby, you want a party?" I'm incapable. I can't. It's as much as anything in this universe might be impossible. I'm as close to it as that when it comes to crack. And in time, I will explain it all. Sadly, Viper is an example of what happens when somebody who is in that position falls to temptation. That's right, Osgreat Sage. Falls to temptation and begins freebasing what he has come to know as crack. It's like taking the finest wine ever produced in the history of all fine wines, looking at it, smelling it, maybe swirling it around, and then pouring it on your campfire and lighting it up. Can it be used as an accelerant for campfire? Yes, it can. It's got alcohol in it, and alcohol is combustible. Alcohol burns. So, yeah, you could use it as an accelerant on a campfire. But if you knew that you had the finest wine that had ever been produced in the history of winemaking, would you really pour it on your campfire and then light it up? Or would you savor it like the finest wine ever produced and drink just a little bit, allowing it to soak into your palate, open your consciousness, perhaps expand it out into the universe to where you too could understand not only where that wine came from, but the fact that you now have information that you can detect that allows you to see patterns in the fabric of the universe, which then allows you to understand that over there, wherever there is, wherever then was, wherever there will be, that is Crack Planet. But if you take that finest wine ever produced and instead you dump it over some campfire wood, and then you take your 79-cent lighter you got down at the Stop and Go, and you light that up, well, my friends, in a way, that's the story of Viper. You see, I have to speak in a mix of metaphorical language and literal language because metaphorical language allows me to take infinite amounts of data and bring it down into a, a package, if you will, like the Lucent was delivered in a package on my front doorstep today. And in this package, I can deliver a message to you that gives you an impression of what the true meaning is. But would it be impossible to convey if I tried to talk about every single piece of information that goes into creating that impression? So I give it in metaphorical terms, but then I use literal language to appeal to the consciousness that we share, the human experience, and that literal language allows you to interpret the metaphorical language in a way that resonates with you, specifically you. Now, Redboard Comics and Games says Lucent. Yeah, it's our nickname for the Lucent. Mike Bancroft is a bit of a mushmouth at times, and on one particular show, he tried to say Lucent, and it came out Lucent. So our lovable chat has never let him forget it. So occasionally we refer to it as the Lucent. To the best of my knowledge, Eric, the Lucent did not come with a free piece of crack. My package certainly did not. Let's go back through. Good Stuff says crack tincture, maybe. I'll talk to Dr. Good Stuff about that. Far be it from me to inhibit anyone's creativity. All I ask is that we be safe and that we try to do our very best to lift up and encourage people. How we get there, those details we can't dictate to each other. We can simply observe, and if we think maybe we can help out, then maybe we offer to help out. Mo says, Billy invented the crack vape and proceeded to turn on the crack pack. He inspired me to create Weebhab, which will now benefit so many. It's quite a turn of events, Mo. I'm not sure where that chain of events is going, but if you say it will benefit so many, then I look forward to following along in your adventure. Let's see. Mo Big says, Steve prints crack rocks with his 3D printer. Steve can do just about anything with that 3D printer, as far as I can tell. Okay, here's one from Steve Worcester. I hear your problem, Joe. On oat, we have a new kind you can eject. Don't worry. Oh, wow. Sounds like a scientific breakthrough. I await new information. What do we have here? Redboard Comics and Games says you'll want to check out the Yale study, Crack Rock Frequencies of Quantum Smoke Entanglement. Interesting. I will have to note that. Oliver from 656 Comics. Good to see you, my friend. Glad you could join us. So I'm seeing lots of. Oh, here we go. I knew I could count on Mo. I knew it. Mo says, build your house upon the crack rock. Lift up your fellow man to the rock that is higher than we. This is what it boils down to, friends. If that crack rock is Crack Mountain, and if Crack Mountain is more than we ever knew it was, and I believe it is. Well, I've seen it. I know it is. But out of respect for everybody's various possible reactions, ideas, thoughts, beliefs, I understand if it sounds difficult to believe. But yes, Mo, if we think of the house needing a strong foundation, absolutely. Not one that we should be freebasing, but just a strong foundation, solid material. Yeah, we can lift up our fellow man to the rock that is higher than we. Absolutely. Mo says crack was Joe's contra code for 30 lives. If only I could unpack that for everybody, Mo. That's more true than you know. Okay. Oh, Viper, I'm sorry I missed you leaving. I hope that you truly are serving the pack. When I planted the flag of the United States of America and of the crack pack, it has your picture on it, Viper. It has your picture still. I never pulled that flag. I always believed that you could return to the light, realize your true potential. That day in the back alley behind the convenience store, Viper, when you took the beacon that I had given you from Crack Planet, had tried to explain to you what it truly represents, and then to see you throw it down and smash it into who knows how many pieces on that cracked asphalt. I won't lie, it hurt. I was disappointed. What can I say? I had invested so much of me into you, and to see that happen, I won't front. That was tough, but we all have to go our own way. We all have our individual minds, lives, choices in life. We all have to do it our own way. So I stood there and I said, Viper, if you walk down this path, I cannot follow. And what you said to me, y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. Fair enough. That last part was a true statement. I don't smoke crack. But cowards? Viper, I ask you, is it cowardice for a battlefield medic to run headlong into the face of overwhelming fire because he knows that his battle buddy has been shot through both legs, both arms? One might say, shot right through his smoke hole so he can't breathe, let alone, as you say, smoke crack? When that medic runs into that battlefield in the face of enemy fire, kneels down and says, Viper, I'm bringing you home. And he hoists you up on his shoulder and he carries you back to your brethren, your pack. I ask you, is that cowardice? It's not a trick question. There's no right or wrong answer. You answer that for yourself, Viper. And if you ever want to continue the conversation and let me know what you come up with, I'll be happy to listen. Let's get back to the chat. Eric Huffle says, sign up for Shane Davis and Yanji's new comic, Inglorious Rex, Monster Martial Arts. I am absolutely signed up, and I cannot wait to back that book. I think it looks fantastic. Let's see. Mo Big says, I personally invented the crack cannon to spread far and wide. I don't doubt it a bit, Mo. I, inspired by Ethan Van Sciver and his scale model of Trebuchet Guevara, I took the blueprints, not the originals, but just a copy. And basically, it was a copy that I made by hand from studying the YouTube footage of the scale model of Trebuchet Guevara. And I took that and I made my own modifications to it. Um, so when I saw that our 656 brothers down in Juarez needed a love bomb delivered in the waves of good vibes, I rolled out for the first time Trebuchet Thunderlips. And the name Thunderlips having been bestowed upon me by my amigos in Juarez, and believe you me, even though I have not yet been to Juarez, it's been made very clear to me that they know the name Thunderlips. And so when I found, again, through the mysteries of quantum entanglement, the beacon from Crack Planet that I have in my possession, I received a message, you might say a distress call, that injustice was being perpetrated and the 656 guys were under attack. It was a bad vibe crossfire, the likes of which I rarely see in this life, even with my enhanced state of consciousness. It was almost unspeakable. And so I got a distress call from Oliver, and all I could think of was, Oli, here it comes, buddy. This one's for you. So I put a love bomb into Trebuchet Thunderlips, and I calibrated it, and I fired it. And it launched that love bomb straight over the wall, because San Diego's a border town, and there's a big old border wall there now. So launched it straight over the wall. And then, because of the modifications, some of the custom modifications I've implemented, it actually automatically engaged the guidance system for the love bomb, which brought it all the way through Mexican airspace down into Juarez, hit Oli straight in the chest. He flew back. All of the other 656 guys caught him, and the splash of good vibes from the love bomb that detonated hit every single one of them. I didn't even have to call Oli and ask him, Oli, how many guys did I get? How many of you are so overwhelmed with good vibes? You just got to turn around and you got to launch them right out into Juarez in all directions. Didn't even didn't even have to ask. I already knew. Like I said, it was a moment, and I had seen it. And so I knew it only would take time to take us there, to experience it. And I'm telling you, I tracked from one of my secret underground bases beneath CG land. I was watching the progress that those boys put into those good vibes, the added momentum, the energy. It was incredible. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Yeah, Lord Ravener, to go from San Diego to Juarez, I tell you what, man, Trebuchet Thunderlips has some special modifications, stuff that I figured out when I was in the quantum realm. And I wish I could go into it in detail, but quite frankly, there are snakes in the grass. There always have been. Um, we don't want the technical capabilities of Trebuchet Thunderlips to be fully disclosed yet to the public. There will come a time when we will, but it's not yet. Simonon, yeah, it is a long trip to Juarez. Believe me, it was no joke to not only line up that shot and to call it, but then to make it happen and actually hit the target. I mean, Oli was going from the couch to the refrigerator, back to the couch, back to the refrigerator, back to the couch, to the bathroom. I mean, I don't know what that poor guy ate, but it was not good. Now, after he got hit with the love bomb, the side effects pretty much just disappeared. But yeah, it was not a sure shot by any means. Simeon says, wasn't that San Ysidro? Now, see, he's familiar with the border geography around here. San Ysidro being a place in San Diego County that's very close to the Mexican border. I, Simeon, I would love to tell you where we actually launched from, but again, due to the nature of the snakes in the grass, blue-haired, cottage cheese faced snakes, real fat tails. They smell like last month's sour cream. When those have been removed from the surrounding area, I'll be happy to tell you all about it. I will say that you are a very perceptive individual, Simonon. What else do we have? Yeah, Lord Revener says the 656 guys represent. So, did I answer your guys' questions satisfactorily? It looks like we're coming up on 2 hours. I'm going to have to go pretty soon. It looks like we may not get our party invite drawn up tonight, but that's okay. I can do it tomorrow. We're going to be inviting the U.S. military to a party that CG will be attending, and we're going to see if we can make a love connection. See if maybe we can get some human interactions going that maybe produces some good vibe wave energy that helps lift up both CG and our military folks, their families, affiliated charitable organizations. See if we can get some comics into the hands of the military, and see if we can get some life skills that the military teaches and lives, and I think would be very beneficial for so many of us in CG. They've been very beneficial in my life, my family's life. So yeah, I think Mo, I think you hit it on the head. It says my mind is still recovering, but you've given us a lot to digest. I think that's a good way to sum it all up, Mo. I think what we'll do is we'll put a pin in it. We'll call this one done. I hope you guys enjoyed my little party. Like I said, I went from 1% to 5% capacity while in the hospital for a week, and then the last 2 weeks at home, I've gone from about 5% to 20%. So that means that we can safely and responsibly kind of chart out where I think I'll hit maybe 100% capacity as to what that was before I got sick. I'm not going to say exactly what that is. I'd rather show than tell at this point. I did too much telling when I wasn't really in a condition to be telling when I was in my hospital bed. So I've got my goal set. Probably in a couple days. If anybody would like to know what sort of like physical fitness training I'm doing to recover from such a devastated state, because you have loved ones or maybe yourself, you need to go through the same process to some degree. Let me know, because I certainly, if it inspires or encourages people in any way, I'd be happy to post my physical training progress, the metrics and the goals and goals met, goals exceeded, all that good stuff. What was the last thing? Yeah. The last thing is I'm going to be back on the Bancroft show starting tomorrow. So same time as usual. We're going to have, the last I checked, we were going to have Mark Polton and Mike McMahon on the show. So late night with Comicsgate. Yeah, it's on and popping starting tomorrow. And then the day after that, which will be Wednesday in the U.S., Mike and I have planned kind of not a, I guess, something of a reunion, something of a return, something of just a couple of mates chatting about what has gone on the past several months. Because I was in bad shape for a while before I went to the hospital. So there's gaps in my memory that I'm hoping to recover. One of the very, very, very common, most common maybe, symptoms of COVID is that the oxygen deprivation causes temporary memory loss. So a lot of what I have found is just by talking with people, a lot of that stuff comes back. And I've got it almost all back, but there's still little bits and pieces here that I'm missing. So let me take a few last questions and then we'll close it down. Um, Lord Ravener is saying, I think everyone needs some positive food now. I absolutely agree. And I have a plan to, and actually, I've been testing and implementing that plan in ways that have been very promising for how we can take a little bit of positivity and good vibes and how we can, just through our interactions with each other, amplify it. And we can amplify it enough to really have a positive and noticeable quality of life improvement in CG. The only catch is it's always temporary. That's the nature of darkness and light, is that no matter how light the bright shines, it's always temporary. And then it becomes reduced for some reason. And then the darkness grows. And so we then have to pump up more energy into the light, make it brighter, and the darkness recedes. So as long as we always have enough people in CG who are pumping up enough energy, good vibes energy into the body of CG, then the body of CG will stay lit up and the darkness will stay receded. But it's a constant thing. It's one of the reasons why I really want to introduce CG to our military people, because if we can get our military people interested in CG, well, guess what? Then suddenly we've got security detail that they are voluntarily providing because they're now part of the family and they want to protect the family. So if we have security from the U.S. military, you guys see this? Do you see what's happening here? Quantum entanglement. I'm talking about human interaction. And if you can see the video right now, we've got two supposedly disparate groups of people, Comicsgate and the U.S. military. And yet, see how they move? Same direction, same speed, same rate, same momentum. Almost as if they're bound by a force that neither of them understands. And yet, they are bound so tightly, they can never leave each other. So if we can find a way to get Comicsgate and the U.S. military to bridge that gap of never having met, magic, my friends. Or maybe not magic, but something so cool it might as well be. So that's my hope that will happen on Labor Day. That's my hope. I hope we throw a party for CG and the U.S. military on Labor Day that is so monumentally cool and so fueled with good vibe energy that it will light up the sky with fireworks that we've never seen before. Then again, I might be completely out of my mind. I might be the crazy guy that nobody should listen to. Like I said, whatever your reactions are to anything I've said, I am content with them. As long as they're authentic, they're the right ones. So let's quickly go through and say good night to, let me start at the beginning. You guys had so many great messages. Okay, Lord Ravener is where I left off. Okay, Robert Shepard, Red Boar Comics and Games, Mo Biggs, Good Stuff Comics Gator, Robert Shepard again, Mo Biggs. You guys just keep adding so much to this show. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Simonon 7, Fulton Land on Thursday. Yes, sir. Fulton Land Live will be back this Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Russ Leach, we will be back better than ever. Eric Hutfels, Unhinged Entertainment. Glad you could join us, even at the end. Yes. I hope you'll watch the replay. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe on the Wednesday show with Mike, maybe I'll get into the Lucent, more of the unboxing. We didn't really get into finish that. Maybe I'll do it on Fulton Land Live on Thursday. We'll see how it goes. Peyton Holden, all you guys, thank you so much. Eric Hutfuls, Good Stuff Comics Gator. That is a wrap. I'm going to play the archival footage one last time, and then we're going to shut it down. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time. It is priceless to me. I know you could spend it doing anything else with anybody else. The fact that you would choose to spend it here with me, with us, to me, that's priceless. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Okay, we got our Crack Pack boys. Love those Muppets. They're squirrely, but if there's anybody out there, I heard some rumblings that some people were thinking that the Crack Pack was. I think people just didn't understand that they're goofing around, they're having a good time. But if you guys see them like I don't know, you think they're mistreating each other or anything, trust me, they're all in on it. They're just having a goof. Questions. Mo, Mo, Mo. Oh, that's a good one. I always avow the pack. I cannot. I'm sorry, but I must not and cannot avow the crack. It's not a casual thing. I'm afraid there's history there. You guys may have seen a little something like this on Crack Mountain, maybe in the possession of D-Wag. Let's just say that I've never been to Crack Mountain, but in my travels through the cosmos, boys, Crack Pack, Crack Mountain's not the end-all be-all. Crack Mountain, think of it as a love note from Crack Planet.
Joe decided to set out on his journey to discover Crack Rock Planet. When Joe arrived at Crack Rock Planet, he planted the Crack Pack flag alongside the U.S. flag. He then decided to take a hunk of the planet, for research. He then realized that the Crack Pack was about supporting one another and helping each other rather than tearing each other down.